Hey everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore
coming at you. And we're so glad that you're here, and we pray that you guys are blessed by what the Lord has to share today.
You mean tonight?
Tonight, yes, once again at night as we're filming this video.
We've switched.
We have switched.
We're going in a new direction.
It's just kind of interesting how the Lord's been doing that. It's really not something we're trying to make happen.
Nope.
It's just here we are,
Just
filming
seems to
this,
work better all of a sudden.
filming another video, and again we're coming at you. It's kind of funny. It's actually been really cool because, we actually filmed the first two videos on the same night, and then it was just like afterwards, we just really felt like, hey, I think God's going to have stuff for us to share pretty much every night as we go into this new year.
And then you feel that, and then you see how it pans out. And then, because sometimes you can feel stuff like that and go, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, but...
And because it doesn't, the Lord's like, nah, it's okay, but...
Yeah, but this is a definite, direction from the Lord. Yeah. And so it's actually really exciting to be able to share with you guys more of what God is speaking. And I really feel like it's just...
ending the year with a bang.
Yeah, and just even that sense of, like we mentioned in our last video, of like just getting full, getting stuffed on the truth of what God is speaking and what he's saying over our lives, and to just really encourage us as we continue to follow after him and his heart. And
tomorrow's going to be super cool because it's going to be kind of a prayer and prophecy night to close out the year, and we're going to give what we believe is what the Lord's sharing with us. You know, the Lord can share 100 different things about 2022, and all of them are correct.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so it's like we're going to just share what we believe the Lord's saying about 2022, and it is mega encouraging.
Yeah,
mega encouraging. Going to do some prophecy, going to do some praying.
Yeah,
you know. If it was YouTube legal, we'd put some worship on there too, but we don't mess with that.
Yeah.
We've already got one strike on our channel for election stuff.
Yeah.
Because they took that video down. And you guys never got a chance to see it. I think maybe like a couple views, like 100 views, and they took it down. I was like, wow. That's the first time we've ever had a video taken down from YouTube, but I guess we were messing up their community guidelines talking about the election. It's like, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think it will just be a really awesome night. So we're just gonna, before we begin, as always.
That's right. We forgot
we
that
gotta
part,
give a huge thank you to everyone who continues to give and support what God has us doing, this journey that we're on.
Yeah,
and so it's just so amazing. We just continually are blown away and blessed by how God carries us and brings us through all the time.
There are no words.
And so thank
you. There you go.
And we are support based, so if you would like to give to us, you can. We have a PayPal link and a Cash App link below, and you can click either one of those.
Yeah. Or both. God's speaking double. I'm just kidding.
But so tonight, I really wanted to share something that the Lord was highlighting to us, which was to start off with the number 46. We've seen this number before many times, and one of the things, the scriptures that we get with the number 46 is Zechariah 4:6. And it says basically like, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. And so it's just this sense of like,
we just read that recently.
We did.
One of our videos.
Yeah, we did. I think it might have been our last one, but it's by the Spirit of God that things happen, and it's through his Spirit that just life comes out. And so we were reading about that, and also I think it's the Hebrew 46, H46 in the, what is that,
it's the Strong's Concordance.
Yeah. It actually means mighty God, and it's the word mighty, but it's only used in reference to God himself. And so, of course, that's just like, that's what he does with his spirit. He is mighty, and he shows himself mighty on our behalf. And so the Spirit of God is the breath of God. And it just made me think about, with Abram and Sarai, God came to them and he changed their name. And it said what he added was the hey in their name, Abraham and Sarah. And I feel like that represents hey, can represent the breath or the Spirit of God. It's the number 5. It's the number of grace. And it was like, God was like, I'm going to put my Spirit upon you and upon who you are. You're no longer Abraham. Well, you're no longer Abram, but you're Abraham. You're no longer Sarai, you're Sarah. Because my Spirit is coming upon you to move and
produce the promise.
Yeah, and the Spirit of God literally brought life back to their dead bodies.
Well, it's like with Abram and Sarai, they didn't have the power. They tried it, and Abram and Sarai gave birth to
nothing.
To really nothing, except for Ishmael, and that was Abram and Hagar.
Yeah.
But it's like when God says, I'm putting the power in, I'm placing you, I'm elevating you, I'm blessing you, and I'm even going to change your name to signify what I'm doing, and that not just what I'm doing, but you're going to be a different person from this time forward.
Yeah.
And you're going to be someone who walks with the power of God, and you're going to have a sign, of the power of God in you, coming out of you, and it's even going to be in your name. It's going to be your new identity. Your new identity is going to be marked with the power of God coming through you.
Yeah. And so Abraham and Sarah, the Spirit of God moved upon them, upon both of their dead bodies, because they were considered dead. Sarah's womb was dead. Abraham was dead. And as far as producing a child. And so, but the Spirit of God moved upon them, and it allowed them to receive the promise. It brought their life to their dead bodies. And I was just really hit with that sense of like the Spirit of God moving and breathing upon his people. It was the breath
wind,
of God,
the Spirit,
that it was the 4 winds, the Spirit of God that came over all of the dry bones. And in Ezekiel, it's in Ezekiel 37, and you read where it's like the bones came together, the sinew, all of it. It was literally, everything was together. They were just bodies that were waiting for the breath of God. And
they were Abrams and Sarai's.
Yeah.
Just laying there, just
and then the Spirit came and breathed life into them, and they were raised up. And it's just this sense of God's like, I'm coming to breathe my Spirit, to breathe my life into your bodies. Like we're all like dry bones. We're bodies that are, it's like you've been made ready, but now we need to receive the Spirit of God.
We're ready to receive.
Yeah.
That was kind of the word over this whole year.
Yeah.
God just like making us ready to receive. And then we've gone through so much like soul deliverance, you know? It's like, well, you're ready now.
Yeah. Well, and that actually kind of goes into this second part that I wanted to share, which is talking about what God has been doing as far as just birthing, because for at least for us, for the last couple of years, there's just a sense of birthing that we go through. And it's like, Lord, what are you doing? Because when we have all these images of birthing, it's like we come to the end of it and it doesn't seem like anything's been born. And as
but we trust you.
Yeah.
That's how we end it. You got to end it with, but we trust you.
Yeah.
That's what keeps you going.
Yes.
Your trust in the Lord, man.
And so I was just thinking about specifically 2020 and 2021, because in 2020 we entered into this pregnancy promise process, and even in that year, we ended up coming into a time of birthing and a lot of expectations of promises to be fulfilled. And then we came to the end of the year, and it was just like, okay, what happened? And then, coming into this year, it was like, Lord, what are you doing here? And I really was reminded of God bringing forth and birthing body, soul, and spirit. And but for him, it's been spirit, soul, and body, in the sense that he's got to prepare our spirits and prepare our souls before he can prepare the body. And in 2020, it was our year of oil and spices, and it was a super significant time. And it literally started off the year, like January 1, started off with just worship. We just went into this place of worship, and for 21 days straight, it was like tons of worship, day and night. And it was like, wow, Lord, this is, I don't know what you're doing, but okay, we are just worshiping you. And it reminds me of the scripture, John, what is it, 4:24, where it says you must worship in spirit and in truth. And just like, it was a time of worshiping in the spirit and just going forth with the Lord. And
at the end of that 21 days, our oldest got a vision of me being like anointed with oil and all that stuff. So it's like this oil and spices thing was like legitimized. It was just like, the Lord's like, no. And we literally poured oil over my head and all this stuff. And I was just like, wow. You could just tell the Spirit of God was on it. It was like, this is what I'm doing. And I'm just like, okay, oil and spices, here we go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also during that time was when God was like, you are in the pregnancy promise process. And he brought us to this place where I was reminded of pregnancy, and like basically at 21 days you can hear the heartbeat. And so there's all of this going on, so much going on. And of course, as actually in 2020, that was also when God began the restoration play, which is a whole separate thing. But there's lots of overlap when it comes to the Lord. But I really felt like God was showing me that in 2020, what he began at the very beginning of that year, was this process of birthing our spirit. And you can think of it as also he planted a seed, and that seed had to grow and develop much like a baby would in the womb. But there comes a point when you've planted a seed and the tree grows that you receive the harvest. Can I say something about that? Because what does that mean to birth the spirit? It's like and grow in the spirit. Well, it really meant to rise above all the stuff of the soul and of the earth and physical life and things of that nature, to rise above it and stay in a place of being in the spirit through it. And that was definitely a growth process for us. Yeah.
And so it was just like, okay, so we're going to just be here, relying on, like, this is what we're hearing from the Lord. We're going to continue to press in to what we're hearing from God versus what we're seeing, as
right.
all
or
of you
not
know,
seeing.
That was the time, 2020, that's when COVID hit, and that's when so much changed, and even for us, where the place that we were staying at the time, it ended up closing, and we had to go back to where we were before, and it was just like, Lord, what is going on? But it was just like, continue to press into my spirit. And I feel like there was just a tremendous amount of growth, and I think that during that time also, it was just like God had us in a place where he's like, I'm keeping you kind of in a place of growth, like you would the womb, a place that's protected, so that you can grow in the spirit in great ways. But then there came a point where it's like, all right, in order to continue to grow, you got to come out of the womb, and so I feel like that's why the Lord's like, you're in this pregnancy promise process.
Well, because once the hotels started opening back up, we wanted to leave the place that we were in and come back to where we were. But the Lord was like, no, don't. And I'm like, what? you took us from there, and now you're bringing us back here. We can't go back there. They're open now.
Yeah.
We can go back to the cool place we were in. And he's like, nope, don't do it. And so I was like, okay. But there came a point where he was like, time to go.
Yep. And that was literally like, nearing the, if you were in a pregnancy, it would be like about the time of birth. And it was like God then brought us here. And I feel like then once we got here,
the delivery room.
In the delivery room, I feel like there really was just a delivering of our spirits to continue to just grow and flourish and say, like, this is what God is speaking. This is what he is decreeing and declaring. And so really there was a birthing of the spirit, our spirit, to be connected, to be aligned with God's spirit.
Yeah.
And so then we came into 2021, and literally on New Year's Eve night, it was technically after midnight, so it was on the 1st. Again, God,
Happy birthday.
God just, for me personally, there came just a huge soul deliverance. Like there was just things that I was just afflicted with all the time in my soul and my heart. And God was just like, we're going to bring this to an end. And it was just like...
It was just like putting a stake in the ground.
Yeah.
Like, we're taking this land.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of our soul time.
Yeah. And that's where I feel like God was just like, I'm planting this seed and it is going to grow this whole year. And we're going to see a harvest at the end. So it's just like the pregnancy promise. We're going through it again. And there's this growth and development. And I am telling you, we've been in the delivery room, and it's been a delivery room. There has been so many moments and times that God is like, I am delivering you from your soul. I am delivering you from just being pulled by your emotions this way and that. I'm delivering you from so many things, even just like relational tension areas and
oh my gosh,
and
so much stuff,
just so much throughout this whole year. And it was just like, oh, this is what God's been doing. He has been, so he's got the spirit aligned. Now he's like, I'm getting your soul to be aligned with my spirit. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel the tug of war. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have soul things come up, as far as just like you have a really hard day, or you're feeling the weight of the weight,
or you're triggered by things,
or you're triggered by things, or you're, all of those
but you're going to deal with it according to the spirit, not according to your soul's way. Your soul gets triggered. Oh, and this is how I protect myself, and this is how I deal with that. And this is how, right? No. We're not going to deal with it like that anymore.
No,
we're going to do it according to the spirit.
And so again, I feel like there came this point where it was like, all right, I'm birthing you so that it can continue to grow, and you're gonna see, or just see the fruits. And I feel like we're seeing the fruits of that. And
watch all of this year's videos, and you'll see. All 107 of them.
No.
Just you'll see.
But with that, and this was something that God just brought to my attention, and I was just like, wow, so that's what you have been doing. And so we had gone through a time with the Lord back actually in 2019, where we had these certain weeks where for three sets of 4 weeks where we had this spirit, soul, body, home. And
so it was October, November, December.
And it was like every time there was just this like pattern of what the Lord was speaking to us about during those weeks. And it was just like, wow, Lord, you have this pattern. What are you doing with this pattern?
And the soul weeks were always tough.
Yeah,
they were always
tough.
They were always tough, man.
And so I'm like, wow, I think we're literally like, God is like, I'm birthing all of these in your life now. And so, but I didn't, of course, we didn't realize this, in 2020 or even at the beginning of 2021. A lot of times I feel like God, at least in this part of our journey, he tends to reveal things, or we really see it at the end. Even like we were saying,
when we released the word over this year, where it was like ready to receive, of course you're thinking, we're ready to receive the promises. We're going to receive the promises. And then you realize, like literally a month, at the beginning of December, that I'm like, oh wait, the Lord was saying ready to receive. That probably means he's making us ready to receive.
Yeah, but then you go to like, I thought that's what the oil and spices was about.
Yeah.
Like, no, that was just for the spirit.
Yes.
Now we're going to make you ready to receive in the soul. That's kind of like an oil and spices. I just don't want to repeat myself.
Yeah. And so
it's the same thing that we did in the spirit. We're going to do that in the soul now.
Yeah. And so I feel like just in the pattern of what God has been doing for our life, that we're going to be entering into 2022 where God is going to be speaking to the body, your physical life, not just your physical body. It's anything that's
has to do with physical life.
Physical life, everything that's around you.
Yeah.
And that once again, God is going to be bringing things through a process. And what that looks like, I can't fully say, but I know that, I just believe that there is it's going to be like there's seeds that are going to be planted. They're going to grow and develop and flourish, and that there is going to be... This is kind of a
little bit of tomorrow's video.
Yeah.
Breaking through here, a little spoiler alert.
There's a little pairing. But I do believe that there is, actually tonight we were, the Lord brought up some things about infirmities, and I feel like there is going to be a release of the Lord's Spirit upon infirmities, where he is going to bring deliverance and healing to bodily afflictions, physical healing, but he is also going to be healing like the things of our natural life. I think there's going to be restoration of relationships. And so there's going to also be, I think, just God's hand upon people's lives, like whether it's job situations or just anything in your physical life, where God is just like, I am going to be moving and breathing upon these things. It could be... He's
going to put the hay in it.
Yeah, he is.
You need some hay? I'll take some hay.
Yeah.
I'll take some double hay. Double portion of hay.
And so this coming year is going to be about the body. There's going to just, in all of our physical life, and you're going to see how God is going to be planting seeds. He's going to be growing those seeds. He's going to be, you're going to see the fruit of what God does in your life this year, because I believe he's like, I've aligned the spirit, I'm aligning the soul, now I'm going to align the physical life to match what I am decreeing from heaven. This is what I'm speaking. And so, but then all of it, you're also going to see how your spirit continues to grow, how your soul continues to develop. And then it's like, now we're adding this next part, which is just the life around you, and you're going to see how it continues to grow and develop into what God has spoken. And so it's just like that is the one thing that I was just really thinking about, of it's like God is going to take his spirit and breathe it upon our lives, and it's going to bring forth the promises of it. We're going to be birthing the promises, birthing what God has spoken, just like Abraham and Sarah. It's like when God breathed upon them, they received the seed, it developed, and it was birthed. And it was just like, that is what God is speaking to. That's what he is saying, and I believe just sharing over this next year. Just one of the things, because we have a whole nother video for more of that. But
yeah, that's just a part of it. So we have a part of the 2022 word already. That's cool.
And so I just thought it was just so encouraging. I feel like whenever the Lord brings revelation to life, it always encourages. It's so encouraging. And just that it is going to be by His Spirit that God is going to breathe life and that He is going to go forth.
Well, because we went through the pregnancy promise process. It's almost like we went through the pregnancy process, and now we've gone through the labor and delivery process. The next thing that happens has got to be the baby process.
The birthing.
The birthing. You know, you gotta birth it. You gotta hold it in your hand. The Lord told me that, and so it was June of 2017. I'm like, Lord, we've been on this journey now for 6 months. It's a long time. It's like, what's going on? Like, everything you've been saying and speaking and promising, it's like, I mean, it is so dry and tumbleweeds going across the desert of our life. Like, I don't see anything that you said was going to happening. I thought it would be happening by now, but it's like, oh, whatever, I'm going to put my faith in you, I'm going to trust in you, blah, blah, blah. And the Lord kind of sensed that I was kind of going a little hyper-religious there. And He was just like, Devin, listen, I'm going to tell you something. There comes a point when you have to hold the promise in your hand. Mm-hmm. Or it's just it wasn't the Lord to begin with. But if it's not the Lord, would He not tell you? Mm-hmm. He will tell you.
Yeah.
He's not going to just let you go astray like that for 4 years, let alone 6 months. You know what I'm saying? He's just not going to do that. But He told me that He's like, there comes a point when you have to hold the promise in your hand. And He reminded me of Abraham holding Isaac as a baby. That first moment where he's just like, wow. This is crazy. Even though the pregnancy promise and the pregnancy process was obvious, it was pretty obvious. And then the labor and delivery is like, wow, this thing is really coming out. Okay, cool. But when he held it in his hand, it was just like, wow, that solidified something. It was like, this is real.
Yeah.
The wait is really, actually, officially, truly, completely done.
Yep.
It's like, here it is, right in my hand. And the Lord was like, there comes a time when that has to happen. Yeah. And He just put that seed in there, just like, this is going to happen. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And then we've gone on this journey.
Yep.
It's like,
but there comes a time, we had a vision, or you had a vision. I don't even know how long ago it was, but basically where we're up on this mountain and we're just up on the mountain waiting and worshiping. And
that was in January of 2018.
Yeah. And
another moment where I'm like, God, you've brought us to Nashville. This is crazy. Talk about holding something in your hand. Like, this actually really happened. I am blown away. Why are we still here in a hotel? Where's the home that you promised and the provision and where is that? Like, what's going on? Like, again, I'm in this place that I just talked about. Like, I really am ultra confused. Like, how can you bring us to Nashville and then just have us sit here? Like, you're not going to do that. Or you're not going to do that. That was January 2018. The Lord was like, listen, this is and so the Lord gave me that vision to show this is what's going to happen. And of course, when the Lord gives a vision like that, He's really prophesying of the end. And so
what the vision was is that
the end.
Yeah, the vision is that we're on this mountain and Jesus just.
Oh, you didn't say it yet?
No, I didn't share the vision.
Sorry.
Do you want to share?
I just did a Michelle. I explained everything before I told you what I'm explaining. It's gonna be a reverse thing. No, I'm kidding. No, go ahead.
But basically, we were on this mountain,
you said it a million times.
Jesus comes out and He has these 2 bags of seed, and then we end up going with Him down the mountain. And
we're shocked because He just appeared all of a sudden at night when we're surrounded by this campfire, and He was standing over there in the darkness the whole time.
Yeah.
He was just watching us, listening to what we're having to say. And kind of like Malachi 3, 16 and 17? It's like and the books were open, and He was writing what's being said. And it's just like, wow, look at that, man. They are going through some stuff. And look at what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're prophesying and declaring and praying and praising. I mean, look at it. Even as they're praying and prophesying, they're having to get through the mud as they're doing it. And the Lord's like, oh, man, that tastes amazing. That's some good flavor right there. That's some good heart. I love that heart. That's a tasty heart right there. You know, you going through it. You ain't faking. You ain't trying to fake it till you make it. You just like, listen, this is just where my heart's at, and I know I need to battle off this stuff that's on me. It's like, ooh, that's a good flavor. Put some seasoning on it. You know what I'm saying? Put some praise on it. Woo, that's good. You know, and so he's just there the whole time, and he just steps out. There comes this moment, that Psalm 75 verse 2 moment, where he just steps out and he's like, hey guys. And he's got these huge bags. I just knew by the Spirit that there's seed in there. And I was like, wow. Usually, you know, when I was growing up, you go to Frank's Nursery and Craft. You get this little bitty, tiny little bag of little seed. And you just go and you plant your cucumbers and your tomatoes and whatnot. And that's what my grandfather would do. I was like, what are you getting there? It's like, oh, this is just some seed. It came like in a little tiny little bag.
Yep.
You know, he had, I mean, I was like, whoa. And I knew what was in that bag. They were like the size of walnuts. Or not walnuts. Acorns, thank you. Walnuts are huge too, but these were like acorns. And I was like, wow. I mean, it blew my mind. I was like, that's a lot of seed. That's a lot of seed. What do you have in mind that we need that much seed?
Lots of oaks of righteousness.
For real. And I'm just like, okay, cool. And then our waiting time was over, and we went down the mountain. So even from that vision, I've been waiting on that vision to come to pass for 4 years now.
Yeah. But it's just the idea is like, God comes with the seed.
Yep.
Abraham, what was he missing? He's like, Lord, I don't have a seed. I don't have an heir to inherit.
That's my infirmity.
This is the infirmity that I need to be healed of. And then the Spirit of God came and moved upon him. And it was like, here you go. Here's the seed that you need. And
it was kind of at the last minute, in a sense, because he was 99. But then he was 100. He was in a place which 100 is the number of fullness. He was in a place of fullness. Then he could receive. And I just feel like that's just where we're at. I'm not trying to prophesy time frames or anything. I'm just saying, I just feel like that's where we're at. We're at a place of fullness after this spirit and this soul. And it's like, well, how can that be? Because you haven't had the body part yet. But it's just like, you know, the year of the body or whatever. But it's like, I feel like that's going to be that year 100. It's going to be that 100th year where we receive the promise and we begin to just, the waiting time's over. You're complete. You're really, truly complete. And it's going to take a year, you know, for all of that to take place. And then, you know, I'm kind of getting into the 2022 word as well.
Yeah.
So.
but it is just like that sense of Abraham received the seed and Sarah gave birth by the time he was 100.
Yeah. And so 99, that's like the last minute kind of before you get to 100, you know?
Yeah.
There's no number between 99 and 100, you know what I'm saying?
So I just wanted to share that vision just because it was about Jesus coming with the seed, coming with what is needed.
Coming with the 2 bags of hay.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
And we're like, hey.
Hey. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, so that's really what we wanted to share with you guys tonight. And I do pray that you are blessed by just knowing that God is going to come and he is going to bring what is needed. He's going to bring his spirit and breathe it upon your life and have it come to life. Yeah. And so that's what we had to share tonight.
Yep.
And until tomorrow.
We will see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, we will see you later.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.